Hey, Kyle is wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's the weekly two shows for NWA Powerrr from July 19th, 2022, and USA from July 23rd, 2022. So, um, been a pretty eventful episodes, about 6 weeks now since Always Ready pay-per-view, and we're only about a month or so away from NWA 74, the 74th anniversary of NWA. It'll be at St. Louis. I think it's a 2-day event. So a lot going on to set that up. We've got a big time main event in the finals of the race for the chase. It'll be a four-way match. In the That's the main event of Powerrr. So we start with Powerrr. That's from July 19th, 2022, and this week's episode just starts with already in the ring with the bell starting. It'll be a three-way match featuring Taya Valkyrie, Max the Impaler, and Ella Envy. And you might have just thought this should be a singles match without Ella, since Ella's the tag team champion, but here we are. So maybe Ella can get closer to a title shot against Camille if she can win here. Taya lost in Markova at Always Ready, and so she's looking for a big win, her being Taya Valkyrie. So, and then Max, of course, as well. Max and Taya, or Ella talks trash to both Max and Taya at the beginning here, and then both of them take out Ella Envy. So Taya goes to work on Ella and hits her with a hair beel. Ella's crying and screaming this whole time. She's like, "I don't know what I did to deserve this. I'm a champion." So maybe now we know why this match was booked, because of Ella's cheating in those title matches. She might have been put in this situation. So it's a complete handicap match here, even though it's a three-way for the first couple of minutes, as they just absolutely destroy Ella Envy. Then Taya takes down Max with a big lariat after that. Ella comes back in screaming, so Taya hits a big German suplex on her. Then Max hits a huge clothesline on Taya. Max has Taya in the corner now, and then hits a snap vertical suplex. That looks pretty good. Ella Envy's able to break up the pin. Max then takes out Ella, who's screaming again, and it's not, you might find it annoying, but I thought it was actually pretty funny. Ella Envy's really funny in this match. Um, I was liking it. So Taya then fires up with some forearms on Max, then a spine buster, and Taya mounts Max for some punches here. Good spine buster, by the way, because Max the Impaler is pretty big, and then stomps down on Max's shoulders after that. So out of nowhere, Ella then hits Taya with a code breaker, but then gets scared of Max, who's now up, and runs away. Ella Envy does. So Max then stalks Ella, tries to throw Ella into the post. I think, but failed. Ella tells the crowd now to cheer for her, because she just sent Max into the post, which Ella's been hilarious this whole match. Taya then hits a Randy Orton draping DDT on Ella Envy when she gets back in the ring. Max the Impaler's already up, so Max takes Taya to the corner again, then hits a spear, but maybe it's Max that could get closer to this title shot here. That would be a good match. So Max goes after Ella now, hits a Beal and an Argentinian backbreaker for the 1-2-3. So Ella Envy got pinned. Taya could not break the pin in time. She was nowhere near. So the winner by pinfall is Max the Impaler. Pretty fun match to watch. Max doesn't seem to have an advanced moveset yet. They are probably still developing, but Max does do a good job of being a monster, however. Good stuff there. So Ella Envy definitely stole the show. Maybe some people thought she was annoying, but I personally thought she made the match more fun to watch. So I'd like to see more of Ella Envy in the future because of that. They announced the preview for the rest of the matches tonight. It'll be La Rebellion versus the OGK. And then in the main event, like I said, it will be the race for the chase finals between Brian Myers, Mike Knox, Nick Aldis, and Thom Latimer. Winner is the number one contender for the NWA World Heavyweight title at NWA 74 pay-per-view. So over at the at the interview area with Kyle Davis is Max the Impaler. Max is growling, and Kyle says, "Congratulations." Max steals the pocket square out of Kyle's suit and then takes the microphone cover off the microphone, puts the microphone cover, the pocket square into the cover, and then Max growls and gets in Kyle's face. I was wondering what the heck's going on with this. But then Father James Mitchell, the sinister minister, walks out, and it all makes sense. So Mitchell is pleased and walks off with Max behind him, they never said a word. So I can't wait to see a Max the Impaler gags the Gimp segment together. That's going to be hilarious, especially if Father James Mitchell is there too, to talk through while they growl and unzip and put their tongue out at each other. That's going to be hilarious. So I can't wait for that. Now we get the opening video for Powerrr. After that, coming out to the ring is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, the OGK, the original Kingdom, and they are loved by the crowd here in NWA, which is super weird to me. They are part of Honor No More and Impact Wrestling, and they're some of the most hated people on the entire Impact roster. So they're baby faces here apparently in the NWA. So La Rebellion come out. They're accompanied by Damian 666, the legendary father of Bestia. Say, I should have said. So cool to see him here, and that should be a good. This should be a good match. If you don't know who Damian Say is, he used to be on. I used to watch him on WCW Nitro in the cruiserweight division. Pretty good. He was one of the few luchadors that wasn't wearing a mask. He always had the face paint instead. So this should be a pretty good match here. Taven and Mecha Wolf start the match, and Taven takes control, then tags in Bennett. Quick tags now as they both work on the arm of Mecha Wolf. Taven now quickens the pace and hits a nice drop kick. Damian on the apron now distracts Taven, and Mecha Wolf gains control off of this. So we definitely got La Rebellion on his heels, and the OGK is baby faces here. Damian, like I said, just distracted and got Mecha Wolf in control. Mecha tags in Bestia. Blind tag by Bennett, though, gets them control, OGK back control. So he wears down Bestia, he being Bennett, and now tags in Taven. Bestia then counters a double team and dives to the outside on the Bennett, then dives right on the Bestia. Taven, I should say. Then Mecha Wolf then dives a Topican Hero onto everyone on the outside. So a 4-man brawl starts on the outside of the ring. Everyone's down. The referee's count gets up to 8, and then all 4 men slide in the ring at the same time, start continuing their brawl. Eventually, all 4 are down again in the ring. Great match. Great episode of Powerrr so far. And we still got a 4-way number 1 contenders match after this. So La Rebellion then hit a double team twice in a row on Taven. The second one was the nail in the coffin finisher, but Mike Bennett comes in to break up the pin. Then Bennett catches Bestia and hits a really nice Death Valley driver. Then Taven hits a Shining Wizard, but Damian is able to distract long enough to not get him pinned there. Damian says gets super kicked off the apron here. Now there's a 4-man brawl again in the ring, and the referee has seen enough. The referee calls for the bell. This match is ruled a no contest due to the illegal men's failure to leave the ring. So Damian spits mist in the Matt Taven's face as the bell rings over and over. The referee has lost control and the segment ends. So pretty good start to Powerrr here. 2 good matches to kick us off. Now in the back, May Valentine is with Taryn Terrell and Natalie Markova. So Markova says that she's not medically cleared. And I write down probably from when Taya got way too stiff with her at Always Ready. And then Markova's next words out of her mouth was, Taya gave me a concussion in the number 1 contendership match. So yes, it's legit. There's no way that this is just storyline, because the way that Markova was acting after Taya crashed her head, there was no pad on the ground. It was like concrete, hardwood floor, one of the two. And yeah, so Markova says, because of the concussion I suffered, the doctor said I can't fight, but I can go. I'm the best in this company. And then Taryn Terrell weirdly and kind of out of nowhere says, well, you're not the best, but you're close. So Markova says, I am the best. You're not on my level. You're just a fly. I deserve the title, so I'll wait for the doctors. So yeah, I don't know what happened there. Weirdly, Taryn has seen enough of Markova for whatever reason. Maybe because Taryn got beat up by Taya Valkyrie because of it. I have no idea. So trouble in paradise there. Now we've got one more match before the main event tonight. But before that, in the back with May again is Austin Idol, this time with his son Scion. And May asks, how's your guys' working relationship going? So Idol says it's perfect. Scion, if you do what I ask, not what I tell, but what I ask, I promise you that you will be the next NWA National Heavyweight Champion. But listen to me, son. I don't make promises I can't keep. Scion then says, half of my life I hated you, but then when I stepped into the NWA, I realized I needed to become a champion that's worthy of greatness. I needed to become better than you. Our relationship is good now. I'm all in. So Scion apparently is going to listen to anything his dad Austin says. So we'll find out how that goes. Now making her way to the ring is the assistant CJ. We found out last week that when CJ was talking to May, that CJ's also Brazilian, just like May Valentine. So CJ dances her way to the ring and presents out her client, Magic Mike Dumas. And last week, CJ, or I think last match, so it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, CJ showed that the ditzy, klutzy stuff was just an act, and then she helped she helped Magic Jake win. So already in the ring is the distraction, Eric Jackson. I think the last time we saw Eric Jackson, he got absolutely demolished in a national championship match against the Dane event, Jack Stain. So hopefully Eric watched Jake's last match and he knows not to trust CJ. But the bell rings and Jake just explodes out of the starting block with a huge lariat, then a Russian leg sweep into a side slam. Eric's already in trouble. The match just started. Jake goes for a smoke, but CJ won't give him a lighter. So Eric now goes on the attack while that happens. But Jake just blocks a monkey flip, throws Eric right off, and then hits the TKO for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall is Magic Jake Dumas. So CJ wasn't even needed in this match. Wow. Eric Jackson needs to fucking sorry for swearing. Eric Jackson really needs to get some mojo going, because he's gotten absolutely destroyed in 2 straight matches. So back-to-back wins here for Jake Dumas. Maybe he's working himself up for a title match. And Jake then attacks Eric Jackson after the match, gets a playing card from CJ the assistant, and gives Eric a paper cut across the face. So then Jake and CJ leaves. I wonder what it takes to get a ruling overturned. I don't know the proper 2022 NWA rules, but back in the day, I could imagine that would have been reversed decision. So anyway, when we come back from break, we see the ending of last week's USA, where Colby Corino cheated to beat Luke Cox with a weapon in the tights, old school style. So in the back now, this is very important. Listen closely to this one. So Kyle Davis is with Billy William Corgan, the owner, the head official or whatever for NWA. So Billy Corgan says, I have to deal with constant politicking behind the scenes. You know who they are. It's in the dirt sheets. I don't need to say their name. What it's like. So what I did is I like the tournament to decide the number one contender, but I also reserve the right to dismiss any number one contender at any time. Being number one contender doesn't mean you can do anything you want. You must represent this company. When I was in the ring with the Cardona family, it wasn't easy for Matt Cardona to hand over that title. I had to ensure the Cardona family that I had their back. Everyone in this company deserves to be here. There are extenuous circumstances, but we are doing the best to grow this company. The NWA has more momentum now than in the last 30 years, and it doesn't have to do with me. It's the champions. So I stand with the Cardonas, and I don't give an F what anyone thinks about it. Thank you. So that was the statements from the head official, Billy Corgan. And what that tells me is Billy William Corgan is crooked. That everything he said right there seemed like a crooked official to me, and everything that he's done ever since the Cardonas thing. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in the main event. But remember that part. Remember this promo. This promo is not just insignificant. Billy Corgan kind of stumbled his way through the whole thing. He wasn't very good at it, but I guess he got the point across. So anyway, what the heck was that all about? I'm guessing everyone hates Billy for giving the Cardonas the Cardona family title shots, but I'm assuming Nick Aldis is the number one person he was talking about. That's it's in the dirt sheets and all that. So I don't understand why Billy couldn't just strip the title from Cardona. That's the part of this story that I'm not really getting. Like, why did there need to be a deal for Matt Cardona to hand over the title? Like, that part of the story I'm unsure about. But the story is intriguing, and so is our main event as byproduct. So before we get to the main event, this was pretty funny as well. So May Valentine is with Odison on one side and Colby Corino on the other, which is a weird pairing. They're not friends whatsoever. So May then asks Odinson if he thinks, does he have any chance to win the NWA title from Tyrus? So Odin says, yeah, I have more than one chance for beating the champion Tyrus. Odinson sounded terrible, and May even makes fun of him by saying, okay, that's nice, and then moving on to Colby. Colby, what's your fixation with Kerry Mortan? So I think what's happening here is it wasn't supposed to be May Valentine burying Odinson for sounding terrible. I think if you remember, May Valentine for whatever reason, is in love and or infatuated with Tyrus. So now she hates Odinson as a byproduct. So I don't think that was supposed to. I think it was just supposed to be that, and that's why she went, okay, that's nice, and then let's move on. But I think it just came across that Odinson had a terrible, terrible promo and then May buried him. That was hilarious. I laughed out loud. Anyway, like I said, Colby was then asked, "What's your fixation with Kerry Mortan?" Colby gets mad and says, "You're asking some dumb questions today. You should ask him why he's obsessed with me." So May laughs and asks, "Well, because I'm asking him a different question." So May is hilarious. May Valentine is great on all these shows. So it's time for the main event now. It's the race to the chase 4-way match for the #1 contendership for the NWA World Heavyweight title at NWA 74 pay-per-view event. So it'll be Mike Knox, Brian Myers, Thom Latimer, and Nick Aldis. So 3 of the 4 men in this match had to win a first round to qualify. One man, Mike Knox, did not have to win his match to qualify. So there's strike number 1 with Mr. William Corgan. So Mike Knox comes out first, accompanied by VSK, also of the Cardona family. And then they don't even go to the ring. They just wait for the next person to come out, which is Brian Myers, again, also from the Cardona family. And if there was any doubt in your mind how this might go, they all high five. So the fix is clearly in. It's clear from the start. And I think Cardona's in on, Billy Corgan's in on it. So 2 Cardona family members in this match. There's a third on the outside, but spoiler alert, VSK basically disappears. We never see him again. So anyway, Thom Latimer out third. He's got big cheers from the crowd. And last out is Nick Aldis, who poses in front of a sign held from a fan in the crowd that says, "This is the house that Aldis built." So Aldis is a little hesitant to get in the ring with the Cardonas, but then does, and the bell rings. And Brian then attacks Aldis and then throws Nick to the outside while then they double team Knox and Myers, double team Thom Latimer. Let's see if their alliance will allow them to not break the pin for each other or if Greed will break the alliance. Let's see how that works out. Aldis then tries to enter the ring, but the Cardonas stop him. Tom's now dodging an attack, but Myers almost hits Knox and doesn't. This allows Aldis to actually get back in now. Then Strictly Business kind of team up here. Thom and Nick hit a couple double teams on Myers, but then once Myers is gone, Thom and Aldis start fighting each other. But of course, Myers grabs the leg, baits Aldis to come to the outside. Knox springs an ambush, sending Aldis right into the ring post. That takes Aldis out for a few minutes now. The Cardonas now double team back in the ring on Thom. Myers has a scoop slam. The crowd is just booing this. The fix is clearly in. Thom tries to fight back, but Knox hits a Mongolian chop to keep control. They wear out Thom Latimer more now together. Knox hits a big leg drop against the ropes. Myers hits a back suplex, and Thom, all this while all this is hurting from that ring post shot. But now all this is back in, and he gets double suplex right away by the Cardonas. Velvet Sky is an absolutely terrible commentator, one of the worst in all of wrestling. I need to point that out. So all this fires up and then hits a few punches, but the Cardonas shut it down. Thom tries to get into the ring but can't, and which is this is a sham. This is shambolic. This is a ruse. This is a mockery. So why wouldn't the tournament after the first round, why didn't the tournament go to a semifinals and then a one-on-one finals? Why did it have to be a 4-way finals? It makes no sense. Billy Corgan is crooked in my opinion. I think that's the story here because none of it else makes sense unless Billy Corgan is crooked. So you got one guy that doesn't even have to have a first round match. Then why is there a 4-way match? Why? So they can team up together? It's kind of ridiculous. All the stuff Billy Corgan's saying about the title doesn't make sense. All of this just so you can get the title from Matt Cardona. Why didn't you have the power to strip a champion? And what's the symbolism of handing over the title? So there might be a rule I'm missing here where the officials aren't allowed to strip a champion. But there has to be some kind of rule if they get injured. There's something in the book. There's always been injuries by champions. And second of all, I forget what I was going to say. So let's just get back to the match. Aldis then reverses a double team again by the Cardonas and hits an Olympic slam on Knox. Here we go now. A little bit of the good guys coming back here. So Then Aldis goes after Brian Myers, who was on the top rope trying to do that double team before Knox got Olympic slam, but Myers fights it off long enough for Knox to come back over. But Knox makes a little bit of mistake here. He hits a power bomb on Aldis, but Aldis already had Brian Myers locked in for a superplex. So by proxy of the power bomb, Knox also allowed Aldis to hit the superplex on Brian Myers. So that might cost the Cardonas the match. If they don't lose, they could look back at that point. Thom Latimer now back in, and he goes after Mike Knox. Knox blocks an attack, but Thom hits a modified looking. The only way I could cry it is a modified Blue Thunder Bomb. Myers just barely is able to break the pin. Knox then gets back up, hits a massive looking crossbody on Thom. Then Aldis up and counters a top rope move into the Kingsley Coveleaf, but Knox breaks the hold before Myers could submit. The Cardonas then try to double team Aldis, but Aldis reverses this, and Knox accidentally hits a big crossbody on Myers now. It was definitely an accident. Aldis just moved out of the way. So Thom Latimer rushes over and tries to hit Aldis, but Aldis sidesteps the attack, and Thom Latimer crashes into Mike Knox. Nick Aldis just quickly goes to the mat, covers Brian Myers, and gets the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall and new #1 contender to the NWA World Heavyweight title is Nick Aldis. So the grand plan here didn't work. I'm assuming the person Corgan was talking about politicking was Nick Aldis, the winner of this match. So Corgan said earlier he can just take the #1 contendership away anytime he feels fit. So I'm guessing that's the story here. But if Corgan is indeed crooked, that's the next step. For the time being, it's scheduled to be Nick Aldis versus Trevor Murdoch at NWA 74 in St. Louis at the time of these recordings. And Powerrr ends right away after Aldis wins the match. So definitely, I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but it looks like Billy Corgan's crooked, in my opinion. So let's just go right into the next show. Unfortunately, no Billy Corgan on this one, so we don't get any answers on USA. But this is NWA USA from July 23rd, 2022. So this week's episode starts with the bell already ringing. 2 guys in the ring. It'll be junior heavyweight action. Veteran Caprice Coleman versus Joe Alonzo. So this match goes right to the mat right away with some grappling. Last time we saw Joe Alonzo, he lost to Scion, and Caprice has been really busy with AEW and ROH as a commentator lately. So they quicken the pace now, and Coleman dominates. He hits 2 arm drags, a hip toss, a beautiful looking drop kick that he flipped out of, and a Japanese arm drag. Great flurry here by Caprice Coleman. Somehow Joe kicks out of this, but he's in trouble now. Joe's able to counter the next attack, however, and Joe hits a springboard drop kick that sends Coleman up to the outside. Joe then slams Coleman onto the apron and looks to have shaken off that bad start. Back in the ring now, Joe applies a chin lock, so the crowd rallies behind Caprice, which helps him escape, but Joe is able to slam Caprice right back down. Joe then looks Coleman up, which is a mistake here. The pace quickens again, and Coleman just dominates again once the pace quickens. Springboard leg lariat that looked great from Coleman now. Then a spinning back heel to the back of Joe's head. Coleman's looking great in this match. Really good stuff. So then Joe counters the next attack and hits a nasty looking spinning neck breaker. This almost wins the match, but Caprice Coleman kicks out. Coleman then rolls up Joe for a 2 count. Joe flips out of a monkey flip on his feet, landing on his feet, but tweaked his knee on the landing. So Joe is a little slow to get to the top rope for his next move, and Coleman's able to leap up and hit a beautiful looking, fluid looking head scissor takedown off the top rope. So then Coleman hits a gorgeous, absolutely beautiful looking 3 in a row flipping belly to belly suplexes. This is the finisher called the Holy Trinity, and it is good enough to get the 1-2-3. What a match here by Caprice Coleman. The winner of the match by pinfall is Caprice Coleman, and Coleman looked like a star in that match. Really awesome to see that match. Great opening to USA Today. So and then we get the opening video for NWA USA. It's a pretty good video. I like that. Then when Caprice Coleman's now over at the interview area with Kyle Davis after the opening video. So Coleman says, "It's the rookie body, the veteran mind, and the silver tongue that makes me the ageless one. And I've been proved over and over again that that at 45 years old, I can do what I want, when I want, and whatever I want. Matter of fact, Kyle, you watch yourself, because I'll take your job too, because I'm the most versatile man in this sport today. And if you don't believe me, keep watching. Sooner or later, that everyone except me submits to Father Time. So the ageless one with the nickname here, good nickname for Coleman. Kyle says thanks and tries to move on, but then that makes Coleman mad. He's like, oh, you're just going to move on. You're just going to go to commercial. I'll have your job before too long, Kyle. So Coleman walks off talking trash. Really funny. Coleman's just got it all. He could probably be at his age still good enough to be a world champion. I'm legitimate world champion, even though he's in the junior heavyweight division. Anyway, after an ad break in the back, May Valentine is with Ricky Morton on one side and Luke Hawx on the other. So two guys that have their sons on the roster as well. May asks Ricky, what are the chances that his son Kerry can beat Colby Corino in today's main event? So Ricky says, well, this is something he's trained for all his life. Coming from a wrestling family, my dad was a wrestler too. I think this is the right place and the right time for Kerry to not only beat Colby, but aim even higher. So May says, Luke Hawx, you wanted to be here with Ricky for this interview. Why? And Luke is all mad now. He says, he knows exactly why. Ricky, when you came out here, you didn't check on me and my son. You left my son standing at my feet. I would have never done that to you and Kerry. I may not have been in this business 87 years like you, but I am a 20-plus year veteran. I've been around the block too. It ain't just about you and Kerry. It's about PJ. It's about Luke. So Kerry says, when I hit the ring, I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm busy watching my back. You got to understand this, buddy. This is a pro wrestling business. You have to be ready at all times. But if I did something to respect you, I'm sorry. Let's get it out of the way. So they shake hands and leave. There was some passion in that promo, but man, Luke Hawx started botching the names toward the end, and it really got bad for Luke Hawx' promo. The first thing, he couldn't remember Kerry's name, so then there was a giant awkward pause, and then Luke said Luke's instead of his own name, Luke, so then he corrected himself, Luke's, he goes, and then he goes, Luke, and then after that point, Luke Hawx was completely botched on his promo. So I feel like I say this every single week with the NWA. You guys are a recorded, not live program. You're recorded. Why aren't you redoing backstage segments week after week? There's these terrible promos that you're allowed to redo them. You're allowed to redo these when they're not in front of the crowd and you're just in the back. Redo them. I don't care if it was at the end. He completely botched the end and he made Luke Hawx look like an idiot. He couldn't even remember his own name. So why? It's a recorded show. There's zero excuse. If it's a live show, then you've got all the excuses in the world. And you could just say, oh, well, give them promo time. They can't get better at promos unless they had more promo time. But in this case, it's not in front of fans. It's recorded. It's not live. I understand you don't have all the money in the world, but you can make decent looking cameras off of your iPhones. There's no excuse that you can just have, like, you might be under a time budget. Well, then just have a second day to do nothing but promos or something. There has to be a way, because it's amateur hour. Week after week, you guys have promos on this show, on these two shows, where they're stumbling and bumbling over their lines over and over in these backstage segments. And you're a recorded show. There's no excuse. And May Valentine's great. May Valentine's a great interviewer. So it makes it kind of, it's just not good. I don't understand why you can't just redo it real quick. Anyway, right after that, already in the ring is Jamie Stanley of all people. We've only seen him in Stanley's corner segments or whatever his stupid show is. And then he's going to fight Murcurio. So this should be a funny matchup. Stanley right away messes with Mercurio's hair at the start, and that makes Murcurio mad. They reverse a few moves. Then Murcurio hits a big knee strike and yells at Stanley, "Don't touch my face." So Murcurio is his gimmick is that he's like on romance novels and he's got a fake cheesy accent. So Murcurio then hits a bunch of big strikes and says, "It's a too easy." So Stanley then tries to fight back and eats a big lariat. Murcurio is now talking trash, hits more knee strikes than a nice-looking butterfly suplex. Stanley's now just getting absolutely destroyed. Right on cue, Stanley hits a decent-looking striking combo. The crowd is cheering this. How is Jamie Stanley a babyface? He's one of the cockiest, most annoying people on the roster. So I don't understand that. But right after that flurry from Stanley, Murcurio just hits a twisting unprettier called the last romance for the 1-2-3. Your winner of the match by pinfall is Murcurio. Murcurio just combs his hair and talks trash to the crowd at the end. So Stanley got like 3 offensive moves in that match, and I don't understand why he's a babyface. He seems like the cockiest guy on the roster. So when we come back from break, we just see a recap from Powerrr. It was Max the Impaler winning the 3-way match and then walking off with Father James Mitchell. Like I said, I can't wait to see Max the Impaler, Gags the Gimp, and Father James Mitchell all 3 together in a backstage segment. It's going to be hilarious. So speaking of hilarious, right after that, May again for the second time this week is with Odinson in the back. So let's see if she buries him again for another bad promo. But no way. May actually asks the exact same question she asked on Powerrr. She goes, do you by any chance, do you have any chance against Tyrus for the TV title? The exact same question she asked him earlier this week. So Odinson, he says, like, I'm confused as to why do you keep asking the same question? What exactly do you want to know? Can I beat him in the middle of the ring? Yes. A few more things are said, but they weren't worth writing down. What I didn't mention is, yes, she asked the same question again, but she was back this time to being completely in love with Tyrus. She's like, against the amazing and just so great Tyrus. Do you have a chance against just the most amazing man ever? So it was, I don't know where May is in love with Tyrus all of a sudden, but by proxy, she hates Odinson because of that. And I thought she wanted to have Aaron Stevens meet her mom in Brazil. I guess Aaron Stevens is just a friend. Who knows? So I don't know where that storyline's going. But after an ad break, May's in the back with Jack Stain and Chris Silvio Esquire. And Chris says, I've got some great news. This man, the Dane event, has already defended the national championship on USA. That means NWA wasted the title shot on a nobody kid named Eric Jackson. And guess what, fans of USA and Powerrr? You won't be seeing the Dane event anymore this season. So Jax then says, Scion or Rodney Mack, doesn't matter. I've held all the gold in this company, and I am the greatest national championship champion ever. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter. This title is the most prestigious title in NWA. You know why? Because I hold it. So decent there by Jack Stan. I like the fact that, oh, you already used up your title shot on TV to Eric Jackson. That was funny. So we'll see what that means, if we'll never get to see him on Powerrr or USA again, or what that means. Anyway, more junior heavyweight action in this week's USA's main event. Kerry Mortan out first, the big cheers, and Colby Corino out second. Of course, the big boos. So big crowd favorite versus one of the least favorites here. The bell rings. Kerry is the #1 contender for the NWA junior title. But if Colby wins this match, maybe it can turn that into a 3-way match against Homicide at NWA 74. So big match here for Colby, who lost his title shot against Homicide, even though he had everything going in his favor. Kerry then wants the referee to check Colby's tights, and the referee does find a metal bar. It's probably the same metal bar that Colby used to win last week. So the match starts on the mat with some grappling. Colby gets to the ropes to reset the match. So they get back up. They tie up again. Kerry goes to a waist lock, and again, Colby goes to the ropes. But no clean break from Kerry here. Kerry hits a German suplex instead of breaking. Kerry then hits a running uppercut and tries to hit a delayed suplex, but Colby rakes the eyes to get out of it. Colby stops to talk trash to the crowd. This allows Kerry to keep control right after that. The pace quickens now, and Colby hits a spear out of nowhere for a 2 count. Big nasty kicks now from Colby, who's smelling blood. Colby then talks trash to the crowd again and again pays for it. What was he doing? So Kerry then gets thrown out of the ring. Colby goes after him. Kerry blocks an apron shot, sends Colby face first in the apron, and then baseball slide from the apron to the outside by Kerry on the Colby's face again. Back in the ring now, Colby catches Kerry on the middle rope with an arm drag. That looks pretty good. Then Kerry's in trouble as Colby goes to the top rope, and a nice looking swanton connects. But on the pin, it was kind of a lackadaisical pin with him going backwards, just lackadaisically. Kerry turns this into a pin, and Colby has to kick out. So then he counters Colby with a power slam, and Kerry hits a Bobby Eaton neckbreaker and Finley's rolling hills right after that. Colby counters the kiss it goodbye with a nasty looking backbreaker. Both men then counter back and forth until Kerry Morgan rolls up Colby Corino for the 1-2-3. The winner of the match by pinfall is Kerry Morton, and then USA ends. So pretty good match here. Kerry shows that he now deserves the title one-on-one against Homicide. It probably could have turned into a 3-way match. So that's it for our action this week. I think the biggest story definitely coming out is that Billy Corgan was sounding super weird in that promo, and Billy Corgan even mentioned that he does have the power to strip anybody number one contendership away from anybody at any time. But apparently he doesn't have the power to strip the title off of injured wrestlers. So none of it makes sense. We'll just have to see where the story goes, but it does look like Billy Corgan's very shady. I would say that. Some of my favorite stuff this week was Mae Valentine and Odinson when she was burying Odinson. And my other favorite thing was Ella Envy. Just, you guys might have thought, like, I could see a lot of people thinking Ella Envy was very annoying, like screaming and being like a cornball, but I thought she was hilarious, and she made that first match on Powerrr like really, really good because of it. So oh yeah, and Max the Impaler now potentially having backstage segments with Father James Mitchell and Gags the Gimp. So I can't wait. I hope that I'm looking forward to that next week more than anything. But second most, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this Billy Corgan stuff. So I'll be back next Saturday. I'll review both Powerrr and USA again on next Saturday. So until then, have a great one. I am covering G1 from New Japan and all kinds of other stuff on this channel. So check out the channel if you're into the other wrestling other than NWA. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later next Saturday. Have a good one. Peace.